After the deluge had ceased and the waters began to withdraw, Ninurta, the son of Enlil, beheld a wonder not foreseen. For upon the high mountains of the land beyond the sea, he found earthlings who had not perished in the flood's great fury. They were the seed of Cain, the wanderer who bore the mark. 4 brothers and 4 sisters of one house had built for themselves rafts of wood, and upon the raging waters they sailed, until they found refuge upon a mountain top, which became an island amid the great inland sea. When Ninurta descended unto them, they fell to their knees in reverence, and called him the great protector, for the tales of their fathers spoke of the mighty ones from the sky, and how they had once guided their forebears in the arts of the earth. Seeing this, Enlil and the Anunnaki were heartened that not all of humankind was lost to the deluge's wrath. They lifted their eyes to the heavens, and gave thanks unto the Creator of all, for it was his will that the earthlings endure, and that the seed of man should not be wholly cut off. After the Anunnaki had descended once more to the lands of old, a new place was sought, a place for the chariots of heaven to land, and for the command of the skies to be restored. For the old paths were buried, and the launch places of Sippur and Bad Tibira were no more. The landing stones of old had sunk beneath the waters, and there were none to guide the ships from the distant heavens. Then the mighty ones gathered in council, and Enlil spake unto them, saying, Behold, the lands of the cedar mountains remain, yet the old ways are no longer clear. In the days before the flood, there stood in the city of Enlil, in the midst of Shumer, the great house of command, where the words of Anu were received, and where the paths of the stars were measured and decreed. Yet this place was now lost beneath the mud and waters, and there was none to give guidance to the travellers of the skies. Then the mighty ones spake among themselves, and Enlil said unto them, Behold, the old ways are no more. The temple of the stars is buried, and the bond between NIBIRU and the earth is broken. A new place must be hewn, a foundation laid upon a rock that shall not be moved. They searched the lands of the once great Eden, and they beheld a mountain rising from the earth, a mountain of promise, high and firm. They called it Moriah, the mount showing the way. Upon this mount they laid great stones, hewn from the rock of the earth, fitted one upon another, smooth and level, so that the chariots from NIBIRU might find their mark, and the lords of the skies might descend in safety. With tools of power and fire, the Anunnaki hewed the rock, and they carved from it a dwelling for the bond heaven-earth, the sacred place of connection to the stars. And upon this rock they raised a house of wisdom, that the ways of the heavens might be known, and the voices of Anu might be heard. They sealed within its midst the tablets of knowledge, and the crystal devices of old, so that the words of the stars might be read again. They called forth the watchmen of the skies, and set their eyes upon the north and the south, and they established again the distant markers of the chariots, fixing their gaze upon the twin peaks of Ararat, as in the days of old before the waters consumed the land. Yet in the south no landmarks remained, for the waters had erased all that was. Then Ningishzida, son of Enki, the wise and the skilful, took counsel in his heart, and spake unto the lords of the earth, saying, Let us raise twin peaks of perfect measure, that the chariots may find their way, and the bond betwixt heaven and earth be secured once more. With his hands he fashioned a model, a scale of 2 peaks perfect in symmetry, with 4 sides rising in great precision, angled at 51½ degrees, that they may point to the stars and align with the 4 corners of the earth. Enlil beheld this work and was pleased, and he commanded the Anunnaki to labor in its making. With their tools of fire and power, they cut the great stones from the belly of the earth and placed them one upon another with perfect measure. They set them upon the land of Chem, Egypt, upon the high ground of Giza, that they may endure for ages and mark the way of the heavenly chariots. The stones glowed under the sun, and their shadows cast the measure of time. Gibil, son of Enki, the wise in metals and the maker of wondrous things, fashioned the capstone thereof from electrum, a blending of gold and silver, that it may reflect the light of the sun by day, and shine as a pillar of fire by night. Within the house of the mountain he placed pulsating crystals, that they may send forth beams of light, a signal to the chariots of NIBIRU, that they may find their path upon the earth. And the Anunnaki marveled when they beheld the structure. Its form was perfect, its measure exact, rising toward the heavens in the likeness of a twin peak. And they spake, saying, Behold, this is the house which is like a mountain, the Ekur, the beacon unto the skies. They entered the chambers within, and beheld the galleries lined with shining stones, and halls that resonated with unseen power. And they said among themselves, This is the bond between heaven and earth, a stairway unto the stars, a sign of the wisdom of the lords of NIBIRU. Enki stood before the Ekur and proclaimed, This shall be our mark upon the land, a sign to those who shall come after, that they may know of the great works of the Anunnaki. The chariots from the heavens shall see it, and know that the earth is prepared. Enlil, the lord of the command, lifted his voice and spake, Let this great work stand for all time, as a witness to our survival, as a sign of our dominion over the earth. As he activated the crystals placed within, flickering lights began to dance, and an enchanting hum filled the silence of the land. The capstone, wrought of electrum, shone with a brightness greater than the sun, casting its glow upon the assembled lords of the earth and sky. And the Anunnaki raised their voices in joy, for the bond between heaven and earth was restored. The space center was now prepared, that the chariots from the heavens may come and go, bearing the gold that was gathered from the distant lands. Enki spake unto Enlil, saying, Let Utu, thy grandson, the Shining One, be the commander of this sacred place, for he is just and wise, and shall watch over the journeys to and from the stars. Enlil considered the words of Enki, and he saw wisdom in his brother's counsel. He decreed before all the gathered lords, So shall it be that Utu, the son of Nanar, shall be the guardian of the space center, the lord of the great ascent. Enki spake unto Enlil, saying, Let us raise a monument unto Ningishzida, the master of designs, the builder of the twin peaks, that his name may be remembered upon the land. It was agreed among the lords that a mighty figure shall be hewn from the stone, a lion with the face of Ningishzida, facing the east, where the sun doth rise, and to the heavens where the constellation Leo doth dwell. But when Marduk beheld this work, his heart was filled with anger, and he spake unto his father Enki, saying, Hast thou not promised me dominion over the earth? Yet thou givest glory to another, and my name is forgotten among the mighty. He demanded that his likeness be carved upon the lion, that his face may look upon the rising sun, that all may know of his claim to the throne. And lo, Ningishzida and the gathered lords heard these words, and their wrath was kindled against Marduk. And the voices of the Anunnaki rose in great clamour, for each desired dominion, and their own devoted earthlings. There was strife and contention among them, as brother set against brother, and house against house. Enlil beheld the tumult and was greatly wroth, and he spake, saying, Hath not the deluge taught us wisdom? Have we not learned the folly of strife among brethren? Yet here again do ye seek dominion over the earth, and the works of your hands bring discord and division. Enki lifted his hands to calm the quarrel, but Marduk withdrew in anger. From that day he plotted to seize what he believed was his. Thus did discord take root among the mighty, and the peace of the Anunnaki was shattered. Marduk in his ambition usurped the glory of Ningishzida, and the image upon the lion became not that of the master of designs, but of Marduk's son, Asar, whom men would call Osiris. Seeing the growing discord among the Anunnaki, Ninmah the wise did stand before them, and she lifted her voice as a peacemaker, saying, Let us set boundaries for our dwelling places, that the earth may not again be divided by war, but that each clan may have its domain, and the lands be apportioned according to the will of the mighty. The gathered lords hearkened unto her words, and it was agreed that the great land of Tilmun, the land of missiles and the fourth region, shall be the boundary between east and west. Enlil and his seed were granted the lands of the rising sun, the lands east of Tilmun, stretching to the mountains and beyond. To his domain were given two of the sons of Ziusudra, Shem and Japheth, to dwell and multiply. Enki and his generations were given the lands of the setting sun, all the landmass of the west, the lands of the Abzu, and the dark earth of Africa. And with him dwelt Ham, the middle son of Ziusudra, who took as his portion the land of Cush and Mitzrayim, Egypt. Enki, seeking to appease the wrath of his son, and with the counsel of Enlil, did grant unto Marduk a domain, that he might be lord and master of the land west of Tilmun. There Marduk settled, seeking dominion over all. And it came to pass that Marduk, son of Enki, was called among the earthlings by a name most exalted. For in the land of Kemet, where the great river flows, he was known as Ra, the Bright One, the mighty god of the sun, whose countenance shone upon the land. Yet in the days of his exile, when the mighty were divided, and his dominion was taken from him, he was hidden from the sight of men, and his name was no longer uttered in the temples. The people of Kemet whispered his name in secret, calling him Amun, the Hidden One, for his presence was unseen, and his voice was silenced. Yet in their hearts they awaited his return, and they spoke of him as Amun-Ra, the hidden Lord of Light. Marduk, though exiled from Kemet, he turned his gaze upon the land of Shinar, and there in Babylon he did dwell for a season, seeking to restore his power and reign among men. And in days to come his name passed through the tongues of many nations, and even unto the worshippers of the one Creator did they utter his name unknowing, for in their prayers they ended with Amun, or as the nations beyond did speak it, Amen. And it came to pass, after the waters of the deluge had receded, and the lands of the earth were divided among the mighty ones, that Ninurta, son of Enlil, beheld the beauty of the land south of Tilmun, and he said within his heart, Here shall I build a house for my mother, Ninmah, that she may dwell in peace among the green valleys and flowing springs. And so he caused to be built a dwelling of great majesty, set among the mountains where the date trees flourished, and where the waters of the deep springs did bubble forth. He planted a garden filled with fragrant blossoms, a sanctuary of beauty and peace, a place of solace and rest. When Enki and Enlil beheld the work of Ninurta, they were pleased, and they said unto one another, Let us bestow honor upon Ninmah, for she is the mother of our people and the bringer of peace. And so they named her Ninhasag, the mistress of the mountain head. For she dwelt in the high places, among the hills and valleys, and in her wisdom she kept peace between the houses of Enki and Enlil. And it came to pass, as the earth was renewed, that gold flowed again from the rivers of the land beyond the great sea, and the Anunnaki rejoiced, for NIBIRU's hope was restored. The seeds of life preserved by Enki and Ninmah did bring forth the creatures of old, and the earthlings, those who survived upon the mountain tops, did multiply once more. Peace was upon the lands for a time, and the children of Anu walked in harmony among their divided domains. Asar, the firstborn of Marduk, and Satu, his younger brother, took for themselves wives from among the daughters of Shamgaz, the mighty leader of the Watchers, the Igigi who descended from the heavens. Asar took unto himself Asta, a maiden of beauty and wisdom, and Satu took unto himself Nebat, and their fates were sealed by the union of the bloodlines of the Anunnaki and the Igigi. Marduk, the father of Asar and Satu, spake unto his sons, saying, Go forth and establish thine own dominions, that the legacy of my house may spread across the earth. Asar, with his bride Asta, chose the land of Kem, Egypt, that land of black soil and mighty rivers, where the waters of life flow from the great Abzu, and the temples of the gods rise unto the heavens. And there did Asar dwell with his father Marduk, in the land of the two great rivers, that he might learn the wisdom of the gods, and rule with justice over the people of the land. But Satu, with his wife Nebat, departed from the land of Egypt, and chose for his dwelling the mountains of the cedars, near the sacred landing place, where the Igigi gathered in secret. The Igigi heavens, those watchers who took the daughters of men for their wives, whispered words of discord into the ears of the sons of Marduk. They said unto them, Lo, your father has made you princes, but one shall rule alone. Who among you is greater? Who among you shall claim dominion? And their words were like poison in the hearts of the brothers. For Asa, the elder, was beloved among the people, but Satu, the younger, was filled with jealousy. Satu said in his heart, Shall I serve my brother, though I too am of the seed of Marduk? And he conspired in secret with the Igigi, and their whispers became his counsel, and their hatred became his cause.